Hello guys, welcome to another Wiz tutorial. This will be a step-by-step tutorial on how to build pagination in Wiz. So this solution will work for your customly designed pagination. So if you have a custom designed pagination, so this solution will make it come to life. It will make it functional. Um, this was built using Xano as the backend. It can also work with other backend too. So we'll be building in Wiz and also Xano, and also we'll look at the front end Webflow. So let's dive into it. But first of all, let's look at the pagination and how it looks and how it's working. It's a normal standard number pagination whereby we have number representing our pages. And if I click next, it goes to the next page. If I click a number, it takes me to that page. I click name now, it took me to the ninth page. And one thing that is doing is instead of listing all the numbers from 1 to 9 and to the last page, which is 16, it truncates some number so that we only have one, then ellipsis, and then it jumps to 5. So it's so smart that it doesn't just list all the number. It's just as the normal pagination would do. So now let's look at how it's been built. So from the backend, we like I've said before, we're using Xano as a backend, and we have a table called company, and that's what we are rendering on the front end. We have a list of random companies, and um, this company address and all the details here, they are not the actual company details. They are just for the sake of this video, for the sake of this tutorial. Um, so yeah, we have 140 records here, and we are querying from this table. So we will create an endpoint now. Yeah, custom. I will call it get companies. Save. So we are going to query our record from company table. And the outputs, we are going to enable pagination. Yeah. So make sure you include the metadata, because we are going to need this: the current page, the next page, the previous page, the total number of pages, the item per page. Is going to return all those as metadata. So also include the total item count too. So this one are static for now. We just leave it like that. So we return it as companies. So let's save it for now, and let's text the endpoint. So as you can see we have is returning our companies, and there are 25 items on this page. So we are currently on the first page. That's what this one means: current page 1. The next page will be 2, of course. So the total number of pages are 6 pages. So we have 25 items now on the first page. So now there's no way to tell it to give us the second page or the third page. So we need a way to communicate with this endpoint that, okay, don't give me the first page, give me the next page, the second page. So we can do that here in the settings. We can tell it to return the third page. We can tell it to return 20 per page instead of 25. So if we check, so it's returning the third page and it's returning 20. So if we can confirm here, so the items are 20, but these are still static mechanism. We need to make it dynamic. So we are going to add an input that we use to connect to the front end so that it will be dynamic. So we call it, the first one we call it the current page, and the second one we'll call it per page. We can leave this one as static, but let's do make it dynamic. So we will connect these two inputs to our query or record using the external tab. So this will be the current page and this will be per page. So now if we go to the inputs and we say just give me the 7th page and return only 10 per page, so this will change to 7, and it will return the 7th page, and instead of 20 it will be 10 now. So now it's returning the 7th page and it's 10 per page now. So yeah, actually that's all about the backend. We have set up the endpoint to query our company record. So now let's look at Webflow and see how the UI is being set up. This in Webflow, we are not going to build it from the scratch. So we already have the it set up. So we have an item. Yeah, we have an element. Yeah, we're using to render the list of the company. This one, we it's been given a Wized attribute of product item, and inside of it we have a text to render the product name. We have another text to render the product address. We have another text for the type, which I've given a Wized attribute of called product tag. Yeah, and the pagination element. So this is how the pagination element has been structured. So to prove to prove to you that it can work with any custom design, so I will redesign this now. This is the one currently. This is the one you are currently seeing here. So I will redesign this now. First thing I will do is I'll make this one fully rounded. I'll give it a border radius of 100%. The next button, let me go to reload my icon and give it a forward arrow. Copy for Webflow. Okay, I think that's too small, right? That's too big. Let me just go with 32. Um, okay, then previous. Let me use this one. 32. Oh no, not this one. It's actually not too small. It's okay. So I will let me change the distribution to center, and yeah. So for our numbers, the pagination itself, let me duplicate this. So let's say this is the second page and this is the third page, and also there's one more. Okay, let me just give this one the ellipse. So we will use combo classes to distinguish between the current page and the rest of the page. Let's say this is the current page. We are going to give it a combo class of current, or let me just give it active. Yeah, active is better. Current might be a keyword. So we are going to make it stand out by changing. Let's change the border radius, the border color to blue, or I'm coming. Yeah, let me use this. I'll make it more thick. Let me copy this color and give it a text. So okay, so this is the current color. This is the current page. It's given the combo class of active. So if it's an ellipse, we'll give it ellipses. Yeah, a combo class of ellipses. The first thing we'll do is to change the pointer to not allowed, so you can't click on it. Then I will remove the border, so it will look different from the rest of the number. So it's actually not a number. So what else do we need to do? Yeah, so I will remove this combo class. I'll delete. So this number is giving a Wized attribute of pagination number. We are going to need that. This also is giving Wized attribute of next button. This has also been given Wized attribute. So let's publish our changes. Then we will go to Wized. That will be all for the Webflow part. So the only thing you need is the previous button, the next button, and an element for your number. So inside of Wized, we are going to reload our canvas so that we can have those changes. Yeah, we have our elements appearing. The first thing we do is to connect Wized to Xano. So the first thing we are going to do is to copy the base URL, and we are going to create an app inside of Wized. Okay, I'll call it Xano. So rest. So input the base URL. So we've successfully created the app. Then we create a request to get the list of our companies. But this is too tall. Let me reduce the height. So 540 or something. Yeah, 500. Yeah, it's okay. So I will call it get companies. Yeah, the app will be Xano. The endpoints. Copy the endpoint URL. And yeah, we have parameters, which are this input, the current page and the per page. So the current page, let me copy directly so there won't be a mistake. The current page, we are going to pass it from a variable. So I'll create a variable now called current page. Just call it the same name, call page, and the initial value will be 1. So that means by default it always return the first page for us. Okay, and so this one we have per page, and I'll create another variable called per page. So this we can return 9 per page. So let's go back to the request. So the current page, we will return that variable v dot current page, so which will be 1. Yes, and the per page, we will return the variable per page, which is 9. I think we are done with our request. If we trigger the request, it should give us our results. Yeah, we have the results here now. We have the first page. The current page is 1, and it's returning 9 per page. So let's add an event to trigger this page load. So on page load, when the page start loading, so our event will be on page load. When the page start loading, we want to get our components, and then we want to use this element to render the list of that company. So we go to the data store, check our get company request, select this array. Then we need an index variable. We will create an index variable called I'll just give it a name called item index, and the initial value will be 0. Oh, did not create item index, initial value 0. Let me click save. Oh, I save now. Then we are going to set this product name to be name. Then we will change this index to be dynamic v dot item index. The address, so we will set it to the address from the result v dot item index. And also the product tag, we will set it to the type return from the request. So we are going to change the index to v dot item index. So if we refresh our canvas now, we should have a list of companies being rendered for us. Oh wow, now it's been rendered and it's beautiful. Now let's set the pagination. When we click on this, we want to go to the next page. When we click on this, we want to go to the previous page. Okay, so how do we do that? If I set this is the first page. We have West Fargo, Intel, Johnson and Johnson. If I set this to 2 now, 2, and I trigger this request again, it will give us the second page. So it's no more West Fargo and Co. We have Hewlett Packard, Chevron and Apple now. So we need a way to do this without changing the number. We need a way to be triggering this by just clicking these buttons. So we will first tackle the next button. So when we click the next button, we want we want to perform an action, and that action is to perform this request to get companies. But we don't just want to get the companies, we want to get the next page. If we take a look at the data returned from the request, we have some metadata. First one is per page, the next page, the previous page, offset, and the per page. So we want to set this current page, we want it to have an increment of 1. So if the current page is 1, the next page will be 2. So as you can see, the next page here, okay, the current page is 2. So the next page is what? 3. Yeah. So we we are going to set the current page to be this value, the next page. So we are going to set a variable, and that variable will be current page, and the value will be um, next page. But that should happen before we perform the request. So we are going to rearrange this event. So this set variable action will come before the perform request. So now if we take a look at here, the current page is 1. It's actually 2. So if I click on this button now, it will set the current page to the next page, which is 3. So take a look at here. If I click on this button to set it to 3, and it will load the third page for us. If I click again, it will set it to 4, and it will load the fourth page for us. So let's do the same for the previous button. So we are just going to duplicate this, and we are going to select previous button, and here we will set attributes. We change the variable to, no, it will still be current page. We will just change the value to be previous page. Yeah. So the current page is what? 4. Yeah. The current page is 4. If I click previous, the current page should be 3. Yeah. Yeah, everything is working fine. Awesome. 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 So everything is working fine. Now we have to tackle these numbers. So how do we do that? So what we are going to do is we need a way to generate an array of number dynamically based on the current page we are and the total number of pages we have. So if we are on the which page are we are? We are on the fourth page. It will generate the array such that uh, we have the nearest number of pages to the fourth page visible. As you can see, this is the ninth page. We have uh, eight nearest pages to the ninth page visible. We have 4 previous pages, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, and we have 4 next pages, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's dynamic. If I click on the first page now, it's just going to show 1 to 9 because those are the nearest uh, pages to 1. And another logic is that it will always show the first and the last page. So if I click on the ninth page, it will show the first and the last page. We've successfully set up the next and the previous functionality. So now let's tackle this. So how do we dynamically generate this number? So I'm using a code, a JavaScript code. It's actually, you don't have to worry about it. I will show you how to use it. It's very straightforward to use. The only thing you need to replace is your current page and the total number of pages, and the number of pages you want to be, you want like the total number you want to be visible at a time. Currently it's 10. If I click one now, so we have 10 pages being visible by default. So I will copy this, and I will now create a variable called pagination array. So this the first thing is to make it completed. So this, I'll paste my code here. So if I click run now, it will run, it will generate, because our current page is 1 and our total pages is 8. So it will generate 1 to 8. If our current page is, let's say, 15, our total page, the total number of pages are 100, it will generate 1 and some number around that 15 and the last page, and it will truncate. Instead of, we don't want to be listing 1 to 100 in a single array. So that we are going to have 1 to 100 numbers here. No. So it will truncate it, and it will just give you the nearest number to the current page. Yeah, and I hope that is clear. Yeah, so let's move forward. So let's supply this to be dynamic. So the current page, we are going to get it from our request, and also this, the total number of page. So if I rerun now, it will run the one that will work for us. Okay, so it is that array As you can see, we have an array now. It is that array that we are going to use to render the list here. So we will select the list value, which will be v.pagination. So it's not bringing it up. Let me just go to the data store and pick it here. So v.pagination array. So we are going to create a new index variable. We will call it pagination index. That's too long actually. Let me just call it p. Let me call it p index. Okay, the initial value will be 0, and I'm going to save it. Yeah, and one more thing we are going to do is to set the text. So it will be let me go to the data store, pagination array. Then we will make it. We set the index feed dot what's the index? I think p index. Yeah. So if we refresh our canvas now, yes, awesome, it's working. So we have our pagination being set up. Now we have to undo the click event. So when we click on one, we want to go to that page. So but before that, let's set the current page. So remember we set a combo class called active. So that's what we use to signify the current page. So we will go to pagination number. We set CSS class called active, and the condition will be if this. I'm coming. Let me copy this. It will be if this pagination, like, well, let me just write it from scratch. If the pagination dot array, like if v dot p index equals if it's equals to then we now go to our request data. If it's equals to the current page, so that means if I'm coming, this is too big. That means if any of this number from the array is equals to the current page, and that will always be, for now it will be 1. If we refresh, 1 which will show as the current page, and if we click on the next button, 2 should be the current page. So our pagination is coming to life. If I click up to 9, it will change the structure of this array. Yeah, the structure has been changed. Now we have 1, some that truncates it. Then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then some truncation too, and we have the last page. Yeah, so now let's undo the click. Now right now if I click, nothing will happen. Nothing is happening if I click. So we will select the number again. We are going to create an event called click, and we will add an action. And what we want to do is to perform request to get the company. But before that, we want to set our current page variable. So that will happen. That will be before we perform the request. So we're going to set the variable of current page, and the value will be the pagination array. It will be the actual number from the array that is being clicked on. So if I let me refresh. So take a look at here. Coming. So take a look at here and here. So if I click on 9, it will set the current page to 9, and it will run the request. Set the current page to 9, and it's running the request. So that means it will get the 9th page for us, and the array will be restructured so that some parts will be truncated, and it will only give us the nearest pages to 9. And so now let's finish our pagination project. What we need to do now is to make this unclickable, and to make it look different from the rest from numbers, because it's actually look like a number now. And if we click it will set the current page to the ellipsis, and it will try to fetch that page for us, which is a big bug for our application. So remember, we have a class called ellipsis, and it's been the cursor is being set to not allow. So I'll copy this class now, and we are going to set it with a condition. So we add a class to our pagination number element. Yeah. So the condition will be if the pagination array, let me put the index v.p index. So if the type of, like the data type of is a JavaScript keyword, if the type of is not number, so if the type of is not number, it will set this class to it. And if I refresh, it should have set that for us. Yes. So now if it will still be clickable, I think. Yeah, it's still clickable, and that will be an error. So what we can do is on the click event we can give it a conditional. That conditional will be similar to what we just did, and it will be yeah, v dot p index. I don't think, let me just copy this. um yeah, so we want it to be clickable if it's a number, so we just invert it. So if it's a number, it should be clickable. If it's not a number, it should not be clickable. So if I refresh and let me try and click it, it is still clickable. So I think we should just add it to the action. We should add it to each actions. Come on. Oh, I'm supposed to copy this. Okay. Okay. It should no more be clickable now. Yeah, it's no more clickable, and yeah, that's awesome. Then if we are on the first page, this should not be visible, the previous button. So let's add a visibility that should only be visible if the previous page is not equals to null. It's currently false, so it will not be visible. The next button should be visible. So we've done for the previous. So it should be visible if the previous page data returned from the request is not equals to null. Currently it's null, so it will not be visible. So for the next button, so we do the opposite. So the next button should be visible if the next page is not equals to null. It will be false currently. So it will be true, sorry. And it will be visible. So if I go to the 16th page, there won't be next button. If I go to the first page, there won't be a previous button. If I go to the second page, there will be a previous button. And that's awesome. One more thing we can do is if we click on the next page, or like if we just click on any page, it should take us to like the top of the list. So I've prepared something. So we want it to scroll to this div. So I've given it an idea of featured products. So in the code that will be provided, there is one below, so it's responsible for smooth scrolling. The only thing you need to do is change this ID to the ID of the element you want to scroll to. So I will copy the code now, and when we click the pagination number, so we add one more action, run function. Okay, and it should also have conditional. Okay, so it may not be working now. I think I have to refresh the page. Awesome, it's working. So I just need to copy this for the next and the previous button. So we add an action, paste, then the previous button, I will add one more action. Paste. Yeah, awesome. Let us publish our pagination project and see it live. Uh, yeah, build your dream store, build your dream pagination. So if you have a very elaborate pagination design, you can use this solution for it. If we go to the next page, to take us to the top, we have HP, Chevron, and Apple. So if I go to the seventh page, we have AMD Square. So I think that's all. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It will go a long way. Thank you so much.